These police officers were sworn in to serve and protect the community, but they did the total opposite. So they made this list as the most corrupt police officers in American history. Number 1, Antoinette Frank. She is a former police officer who worked for the New Orleans Police Department between 1993 and 1995. And as of today, she is currently on death row for her involvement in the March 4th, 1995 armed robbery of a restaurant, which led to the deaths of 3 people. Number 2, David Mack and Rafael Perez. They were both police officers who worked for the LAPD's Rampart Division, who both had ties to death row record label owner Suge Knight. And according to reports, Mack and Perez were police officers that was known for selling drugs, shook down drug dealers, which led to them stealing the drug dealers' money and drugs. They were also known for beating up innocent people who they expected committed crimes. And as for Rafael Perez, he was once charged with the October 12, 1996 shooting of a gang member, which left the gang member paralyzed from the shooting. And the gang member was also given 23 years in prison after Perez placed a gun on him and lied to investigators and said the gang member shot at him first. Now, as for David Mack, it is believed he is the man who killed legendary rapper the Notorious B.I.G., aka Biggie Smalls. According to investigators, they believe Mack was the shooter in the murder of the Notorious B.I.G. because during a raid on David Mack's house, investigators found bullets that matched the ones that was used in the murder of the Notorious B.I.G., and they also found the black 1995 Chevy Impala, which was the same kind of car used in the murder of the Notorious B.I.G. Number 3, William King and Antonio Murray. They were both police officers who worked for the Baltimore Police Department from 1992 to 2005. It is said these police officers were so infamous in the streets of Baltimore that their names was heard on Baltimore's Stop Snitching DVD, which led to an investigation starting on the 2 police officers. And as for William King and Antonio Murray, it is said they were known for beating up drug dealers and taking their drugs to resell, framing people who didn't want to work for them, making false arrests on people, and placing guns and drugs on people so they could arrest them on bogus charges. And it is said because of the complaints filed against them, the feds were able to get enough evidence from drug dealers, claiming the 2 police officers were involved in extortion, drug dealing, and excessive force against various drug dealers. According to reports, it is said once the feds got enough evidence against the 2 police officers, both officers were eventually sentenced to 454 years in federal prison, but it would eventually be reduced to 20 years after the First Step Act was passed. And as of today, both men are currently free men after serving a total of 16 years in federal prison. Number 4, Lynn RoboCop Davis. He was a police officer who worked for the New Orleans Police Department between 1987 to 1994. And as of today, he is currently on federal death row for the October 14th, 1994 murder of a woman named Kim Groves, who was murdered because she witnessed Lynn beating up a young man who Lynn expected was the man involved in the police officer shooting. It is also said during Lynn's time working for the police department, he was suspended a total of 6 times and received 20 complaints filed against him. He was also caught up in a 1994 FBI sting when he was caught on tape extorting protection money from a drug dealer who was an FBI informant. Number 5, Wayne Jenkins. He is a former police officer who was the leader of Baltimore's Gun Trace Task Force. And according to the FBI, during their investigation on Baltimore's Gun Trace Task Force, the FBI claims the officers were involved in robbing citizens, filing hundreds of overtime hours they never worked, stealing and reselling drugs, and selling illegal firearms on the street. And according to a former police officer named Maurice Wade, he claims Wayne encouraged them to carry BB guns in their cars, just in case they accidentally hit somebody or got into a shootout, they could use the BB gun to place on suspects. It is also said Wayne will often take drugs off suspects and never submit them into evidence. And according to a bail bondsman, he claims Wayne will often give him drugs to sell for him, which totaled about $1 million. And according to reports, it is said Wayne's crimes as a police officer were so infamous that a TV show called We Own This City was inspired by him. But as of today, Wayne is currently serving a 25-year prison sentence at FCI Milan in Michigan, and his release date is August 12, 2037. Thank you for watching my video, and God bless.